Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Vandeham Sri Guror Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvatam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindha Dinabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaine Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvashe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyan Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Janmadhyasya Tanvayaditaratas Charte Subhigyasvarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yat Suraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Bhimahi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter 24, beginning from verse number 35. This is Lord Shiva speaking to Prachetas, the sons of Prachin Barhi. Prachetas have gone to perform austerity on the order of their father. Father actually gave them order to get married and produce progeny. But before they did that, they decided to perform penance. And they went to the western part of India, near the sea. There was a very beautiful lake. And when they were near that lake, they saw that Lord Shiva suddenly appeared from that lake, being glorified by the Devas. And he told them that he has appeared here to bless the Prachetas, because he says that he likes the devotees of the Lord. And he said that you are pure-hearted people, therefore I am happy with you. He said that I am going to give you the stotra and you should recite it, and then your desires will be fulfilled. So he spoke, and we read the first two verses yesterday, in which he was talking about Lord, who is the master of the Chitta. So we have gross body, and the body there are senses, 10 of them. And there are internal senses, which are sometimes called as only one mind, and sometimes we make 4 divisions as Antakarana Chatushtaya, mind, intellect, ego, and the heart. So there are 4 forms of Lord Krishna, which is called Chaturvya: Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, and Anuruddha. And each one of them is a presiding or worshipable deity of the inner senses. So in the last verse, he said, Vasudevaya Shantaya Kutasthaya Sarochase, that I pay my respect to Lord Vasudeva, who is the worshipable Lord of the heart. Because he said that it is Bhakti which gives perfection in life, and Bhakti can be performed only with the pure mind and pure senses. So these prayers are there for purification or Bhuta Shuddhi. So generally we perform puja, and before puja there is Bhuta Shuddhi. There is also Dravya Shuddhi, purification of the paraphernalia or material, and then purification of the self. So we also have these mantras which we chant also in the Panchtattva, which are actually chanted for purification of the elements. So that is being described here. So after Vasudeva, the next is Sankarshana, and that is mentioned in the verse number 35. Pradyumna. Sankarshanaya Sukshmaya Durantayantakaya Cha Namo Vishwaprabodhaya Pradyumnaya Antaratmane. So he says that I gave my respects to Lord Sankarshana, who is very subtle or unmanifest. He is Durantaya. He is the one who brings an end to this material world, and therefore he is called Antakaya. So Anta means the end, and as you will read in the next canto, at the time when it is time for the world to be annihilated, then Lord Shesha, he throws fire from the bottom of the universe, and then whole universe starts melting, becomes a melting pot. Now they say that the world is a melting pot, right? So then it will actually become a melting pot.
So where is the fire pushed from where? From inside?
From the bottom.
From the bottom?
You want to heat something?
Bottom.
Heat from the bottom. So he starts heating it up from the fire coming from his mouth. Therefore he is called Antaka. And then Namo Vishwa Prabodhaya Pradyumnaya Antaratmana. And he gives obeisances to Pradyumna, who is the presiding deity of the Buddhi, intellect. Therefore he says Vishwa Prabodhaya, the universal intellect. And Antaratmane, who is the inner controller. So this is in respect to them. Sukshmaya Avyaktaya. Sukshma means Avyakta or unmanifest. Durantaya Antakaya Mukhagnina Lokdahikaya. So these two words are used, Durantaya and Antakaya, because from the fire from his mouth he burns the universe. Bho Sankarshana Deva Mama Aha Tam Matyor Vrittinam Deha Gehadi Nibandhanam Anantanam Tadbandhanam Sandhaya. So the meaning of this prayer is that we have two types of vrittis or thoughts in our mind. So one is I, another is my. So this I is the most basic thought. There are various types of thoughts we have. Out of that, the most basic thought is the thought of I. All other thoughts are based on the thought of I thought, this I consciousness. Because without I consciousness, then no other thought happens. So this is the ground, fundamental thought, I consciousness. And then there are thoughts of my consciousness. Once you have I, and then my. So I is related with the body. You consider this body as I, although it is not I, but we identify with the body because of the ignorance of the self. And we think that I am this body. And then this I consciousness extends into my consciousness in the objects outside. So this I gives the feeling that I am distinct from everything else, that I am a separate being. Although there is only one tattva. In Bhagavatam, this is the basic principle which is taught, that there is only one reality. There are no two. Vadanti tat tattvidas tattvam is jnana advaita. One conscious absolute reality. But then we all think ourselves as separate. Usually that is because of the I. That I gives individuality to each one of us. And then things which we seem to own, that we consider that this belongs to I. And the possessor of this. So he says the meaning of this Sankarshan there, why he is praying to Sankarshan, and what is the meaning of purification of the Vritti or Bhut Shuddhi, is that just as he is burning the universe, says like that you burn these Vrittis of I and my. Deha Gehadi Nibandhana Namanantana. Deha means body and Geha means house. So this is the first house where the soul is living. And then to live this we make another house. So then we are extending. So he says that I have this feeling of I and my in this body and the house and the objects in the house. So, and then this is how I am bound. This is how the soul is bound. Because really speaking, nobody is bound. You live in your house, nothing is really binding you there. If you want to leave, walk away and never come back to the house is not going to cry for you. It's not going to send you an SMS, please come back, where are you now? I'm feeling lonely. The house does not care for you. Same the body. When the soul leaves the body doesn't care for the soul. It is we who are hanging on to these things and say, this is mine. And that is the bondage. So he says that please burn this bondage. I had enough of this. So tadbandhanam sandhaya tastato vichuti kritya bhakti ashraya vishyor nibadhana tubhyam. And then from there, after you remove me, after we have removed all this, then bhakti ashraya vishayo nibadhana. And then bind me with something better. That is the objects of bhakti. Let me have my feelings of possessiveness in the Lord and the objects related with His service. So that is our real situation. Then that is permanent situation. So when he says, for this I am bowing down to you. In the other verse, the half, which did not comment, similarly he is praying to Pradyumna, who is the presiding deity of intellect, that you are the Adhisthatri Devata, you are the Antaratma, so please give me buddhi, because I make decisions, I make conclusions, I give up things or accept things with the help of buddhi. So that is coming from by the grace of Pradyumna. He is called Vishwa Prabodha. That this Prabodha or awareness, proper understanding, that comes from Pradyumna. So we pray that you please give us consciousness of the Lord, because you are the Antaratma, you are the controller. Okay. Then he prays to Aniruddha. Namo namo Niruddhaya Hrishikeshendriyatmane Namaha Paramhansaya Purnaya Nibhitatmane. So he says that I give my respects to Aniruddha. Aniruddha is the worshipable deity of the mind. So again and again obeisances to him, 2 times, Nama Nama. Because mind is very difficult to handle. It's very chanchal. So special prayer. Hrishikesha Indriyatma. He is the master of the Hrishikesh. Mind is considered as the king of the senses. And the deity is Aniruddha. So Hrishikesh Indriyatma is the controller of the senses. Indriyatma. So it says Namaha Paramhansaya Purnaya Nibhritatma. The Paramhansa is complete and he is Nibhritatma, he is the maintainer of the senses. Rishikanam Yadi Shamindriyam Manastadatmane Tanyantam. So one who is the Isha, or the master or controller of the senses, Hrishikesh, that is the mind. And the controller of the mind is the Aniruddha. So therefore, He Aniruddha Deva Manmano Bhakto Eva Nuranjaya Tubhyam. That my mind should be taking pleasure only in the devotion. So mind has this tendency to always looking for pleasure and always wants situation which is comfortable, favorable, and if something is not likable, then try to avoid it. It's the basic characteristic of the mind. So he says that please let me take pleasure only in bhakti. Evam antaha karana chatushtayam tad upasya deva Devata Vasuvadi Pranati Bhi Sanshodhya Bahikarnani Tatha Deharambakani Panchabhutani Cha Shodhetum Adhishtatri Rupatvena Bhuta Rupatvena Cha Pranamiti Namah Paramiti Chaturmaya. So he says that in this way, first praying to the worshipable deity of the inner senses, which are 4 in number, beginning from Vasudeva, and thus purifying them. Then next he wants to purify the external senses and the elements which compose the physical body. So for that he starts praying to the Lord as Paramahansa in the next 4 verses. Paramhansa Suryaya Nibhritatmane Nitram Bhritam Vrishti Adivi Palitatmano Jiva Yena Tasmai Suchi Niyantah Karne Shidati Suchisat Hamsa Suchisati Stuti. So he translates this word Paramhansa here as sun god. And Paramhansa Purnaya Nibhritatma. So Nibhrit means the maintainer, because sun is the one who is maintaining the universe by giving light, and rain also comes from that. So water is available because of the rain, and this is how all the living beings survive here. So he is called Hamsa, Suchini Antakarne Siddhati iti Suchisat. Let's go on to the next part. So he is also called Suchisat because he sits in the heart. Hamsa Suchisat iti Srute. It is said in the Sruti. Bho Suryatmak Deva Machakshu Sri Murti Saundarya Eva Pravartaya Dehagatam Suryatmakam Tejasya Shuddhyatu. So Swarga Porga Dwara hai Nityam Suchi Sade Namah. Is also the gate to heaven and he is eternal. So why he is translating these words now in the sense of sun, etc.? Because just as we have presiding deities of inner senses, there are presiding deities of external senses also. So the first is the eye, and the presiding deity of eye is the sun. And therefore he is translating this as Paramahansa as the sun, which means now the prayer is to the presiding deity of the sun so that my eyes get purified by praying to the deity of his eyes. And therefore he is called Suchisat, or he is pure. So what is the prayer? Prayer is that Bho Suryatmak Deva, O Lord, in the form of Surya, Machakshu Sri Murti Saundarya Eva Pravartaya. That my eyes should take pleasure only in seeing the beauty of the form of the Lord, either in the temple or wherever. So eyes like to see beautiful things, but the real beauty of the eye is to see the beauty of the Lord. So that is the prayer. Dehagatam Suryatmakam Tejasya Suddhyatu Tubhyam. And then the Teja, energy of the sun which is in the body, then let that also be purified. So we have Ojas, Tejas and Prana. So Teja is coming from the sun. This is which gives strength, enthusiasm, power. So you can feel that when there is sun, bright day, then you feel enthusiastic. If it is gloomy, dark, cloudy, then you feel depressed. So he says that please also purify my Teja, which is inside me. Namo Hiranya Viryaya Chaturhotraya Tantave Namo Urjai Kshetraya Patiye Yagya Retasai. So Hiranyavirya is fire god. Hiranya means golden. So we read that story about previously fire god becoming attracted to the wives of the Saptarshis. So then he is called Hiranyareta or Hiranyavirya. Chaturhotra Karma Sadhanaya. And all the activities of this Chaturhotra, this sacrifice, they are happening because of the fire. Kutah Tantave Tad Vistarakaya. He is the one who extends them. Bhavanyatmak Deva Yatha Anyesham Karma Pravartayasi Tatheva Mam Vacham Kirtan Bhakto Pravartaya. So fire is the presiding deity of the speech. So he says that, O Lord, in the form of fire, just as you engage others in the activities, in the same way let my voice be engaged always in the form of devotion, in the form of kirtan. That let me always glorify the Lord, always sing the names of the Lord. This is the prayer to the fire god. So the purity of the tongue is to chant the name of the Lord, to speak about God, to recite mantras, prayers, kirtan. That is the purity of the tongue. So he says, please purify me. Vanyatmakam tejascha suddhyatu tubhyam. And then there is also teja in the coming from the fire. Fire also increases the tejas. So he says also purify that tejas in the form of fire. And urja pitrinam annaya. Urja here refers to the food which is offered to the forefathers, because he spoke about Chaturhotra. And Ishe Devanam Annaya. Isha is the food offerings made to the Devas. And Yagyaretse is Soma. Yagyaretse is the name for moon god. Bho Somatmak Deva Mama Devarshadi Rinam Parishodhya Man Mano Bhakto Eva Asajya Somatmakam Tejasya Suddhita. So he says that let my debt to the sages be cleared. So this Agnihotra or Chaturhotra is done to pay debt to the forefathers. When someone is born, then according to the Smriti Shastra, there are 5 types of debts. Everybody is in debt by birth itself. Not only when you take bank loan, but everybody is born with a loan on his or her head. Because we are already taking so many things from others. So there is Devaran, Rishiran, Bhutaran, Pitriran, Niriran. 5 types. We have debt to the Devas. If we get rain, we get light. So we have to do Putra for them. Then we have rin from the sages. They have given us knowledge. So that is Rishiran. Then we have rin from the forefathers. We are getting our genes from them. Good or bad, it's coming from them. So we are indebted to them. Then we are indebted to other human beings because we survive with the cooperation of others. I am wearing this cloth. I did not make it, somebody else made it. So I am also indebted. Even if I pay, I have some debt. And then the living beings, especially in the past, people used animals for farming, transportation. So we are also indebted to them. Now people are keeping pets, cats, dogs, we are indebted to them. So therefore these yagyas were performed to get rid of this debt. That's why I say that you please clear my Devarshan, Rishiran, Devarshan, Devarin and Rishiran. Man Mano Bhaktau Asajya, and moon is also the presiding deity of the mind. So Aniruddha is the worshipable deity and moon is the presiding deity. There is difference. So he also prays to that please help my mind to be fixed only on bhakti. And Somatkam Tejasya Suddhyatu. And let the Teja in the form of Soma be purified. So in the Upanishads there is a lot of talk about Soma and Agni. These 2 things are mentioned. So just as we have Chinese medicine as yin and yang in the Upanishads, in the Vedas there is a lot of talk about Soma and Agni. These are the 2 basic principles of this universe, and the universe is functional. That there is fire, and then there is Soma in the water. Means that one is transforming things and the other is nourishing. So water gives the nourishment, because all the plants, all the herbs, they all survive on water. And fire is that which brings transformation. The food is cooked by fire, also the fruits, they are ripened, they grow because of the fire. And all the juice in the fruits and vegetables, it comes because of the moon. So moon is also called the Lord of Vanaspati. He is also called the master, the controller or the Lord of the plant kingdom. It's like Lord Shiva is called Pashupati. Moon is called the Lord of the herbs and plants. Later on we will read in the story, it will come that these Prachetas, they went into the ocean and they performed penance for 10,000 years. When they came out, they saw that all the plants have grown up so much that no light was coming on the ground, so they got angry on them. And they were burning the plants. So then moon god came and pacified them. Because moon is the master of the plant kingdom. So plants grow nicely because of the moon. All the juice which flows in them comes from the moon. So therefore he is praying to the moon. And that's why he had the Soma juice. It's also related with the Soma. So Vanyatmakam Tejascha Suddhyatu Tubhyam Nama. Somatmakamam Tejascha Suddhyatu Tubhyam Nama iti purvam upasya devat pranatya sansodhyapi manso durdamatvad adhishthatri devatya pranatyapi puna sansodhanam idam geyam. So now he is giving an explanation that why again prayer to moon, when the prayer was already done to Aniruddha, who is the worshipable deity of the mind. So he says that man is Durdant. It is most difficult to control. You can control your eyes. Yes, close them. You can also control your ears, block them. You can control your hands and legs, don't move them, your nostrils. But mind, very difficult. So Chanchalam Himana Krishna Pramathi Balmantrada. So it needs extra effort. Therefore there is extra prayer to Aniruddha and also to the moon. So therefore he says that although the purification was already done by praying to the Upasya Devata, Aniruddha, Manso Durdamatvad Adhishthatri Devata Pranatyapi. So these internal senses, they have two deities. One is called Adhishthatri Devata, another is called Upasya Devata. Adhishthatri Devata is that she is the one, the deity which is directly situated there, and it is by the power of the deity that the sense is functioning. So senses don't function unless the deity is giving its potency. And Upasya are those which are to be worshipped by that sense. So that is the distinction between them. Evam Surya Agni Soma Rupa Tejasya Tadrupena Pranatya Sansodhya Rasnendriyam Rasam cha Sansodhetum Rasrupena Pranamti Triptidayati. So therefore this Teja is combination of fire, sun and Soma, and this is purified. Then next is to purify the Rasnendriya, the sense of taste. So Triptidaya So Jivanam Namah Sarva Rasatman. So our satisfaction comes from the rasana. So ras means juice. So you taste, you like many things, you may like music, you like nice painting, but if you don't get good food to eat, then this music is not going to give you so much rasa in your life. Your life will become niras, means pale, juiceless. So juice in our life comes from the food. When we eat food, then first thing which manifests from that food is rasa. According to Ayurveda, food is digested at 7 different levels. So the first level is the rasa, then rakta, then masa, then asthi, then majja, then shukra. So these are various levels. So there is a rasa, and this rasa is flowing all over the body. It's like the blood is flowing all over the body. The rasa is also flowing. That's why the word rasak is called rasa. Rasa also has the meaning which moves or which flows. So if there is no flow in our life, then we say that there is no rasa in the life. If nothing much is happening, then we say in Hindi, no ras. Ras nahi aaya. So rasa is important thing, and the tongue is the one which tastes the rasa. And then emotions which we manifest in our mind, they are also related with this rasa. There is a very intimate relationship with the taste and the emotion. That's why this word is used. So ultimately rasa is Krishna himself. Krishna says that I am the taste in water, because the taste is coming from the water. The taste which you see in your food, ultimately it comes from the water. And whether it is fruit or vegetable or herb, taste comes from the water. And also the moon is considered, according to our Vedic scriptures, the moon, whether it is this moon or whichever moon, but moon is considered as the watery planet. Because it is that which gives the taste. So therefore he is saying that Rasnendriya rasam cha sansodhetum. So it is very important to purify the rasa, rasnendriya. And it is also difficult to control. Just as it is difficult to control the mind, of all the senses it is difficult to control the tongue. Because tongue does 2 functions. It also speaks and also tastes. Other senses do only one function. This is designed in such a way that one instrument and there are 2 functions which are happening, there are 2 senses sitting in it. So it has the energy of 2. That's why it's very difficult to control. People cannot control what they want to eat and they cannot control what they want to speak. If you can control your eating, then you can also control your speaking. And then you can control the other senses and also the mind. Because all the emotions in the mind manifest from this rasa, which is going in your body. So if we eat food which is impure not in the sense of just that it has some bacteria in it, but impure because of the emotions. It is not cooked by people of pure mind, pure character, pure behavior, or it is not produced by such people, then there is the impurity which goes into that food and you eat it and it will influence the mind. So Annamayam hi prana, annamayam hi mana saumya. So mind is made of food, and therefore food influences the mind immediately. If you get nice food, then your mind is pleased. And they say that the way to the heart of a man is the food, right?
Goes
To
to
the
stomach.
stomach, actually through the tongue, right? Because what goes inside the stomach through the tongue, and if it is nice, then it immediately sends waves to the mind. So you can control just by food. You can control a person, satisfy him, his mind is satisfying, then you can talk. So it is very important to have this. So he says that Rasnendriya Rasam cha sansodhetum Rasrupena pranapti triptidayati. So Lord is that which gives tripti, satisfaction. He rasatmak deva hare mama rasna bhavdiye vastu madhuryam eva swadam prape dahika apasya subhintu tubhyam. So he is saying that, O Lord Hari, you are the master of all the rasas. So let my taste remains only in the objects which have been offered to you. So we have the tendency to enjoy ourselves. I want to eat this, I want to eat that. But a devotee, he eats food which is offered to the Lord as prasad. Then the tongue becomes controlled, otherwise it's not possible to control it. So bhavdiya vastu madhurya eva swadam prapya. And also tongue is that by which we are chanting, so we also get taste from chanting the name of the Lord. So name of the Lord is also supposed to be having a special taste. Madhuram madhuram etam mangalam mangalanam. The name of the Lord is madhur, it's very sweet. Of all the tastes, sweet taste is one which everyone likes. Right? Why is that? Because this is the basic rasa, madhurya. All the rasas, all the emotions, they come from that. Because in madhurya there are all other emotions existing. Just as in the earth, all other 5 qualities exist. So in the same way, madhurya is there. So madhur is very attractive. Sweetness. It's most enchanting. So that name of the Lord is full of this madhurya. Madhuram madhuram etam mangalam mangalanam. So, and that taste you can get from the tongue by reciting the name. When the tongue is pure, then you can taste. So therefore he is praying to the Lord that He rasatmak deva hare mama rasnam bhavdiya vastu madhurya eva swadam prapya. So only the objects, otherwise tongue is always running after anything you see, immediately you want to taste. Something nice is there. Your stomach may be full, you are not hungry, but you are tonguey. So, hunger is the need of the body, and hunger is the need of the mind and the senses. So they want to taste, but let it only taste things which are offered to the Lord, because then it becomes a service. It is also a service to the Lord to take prasadam. That's why there is a custom when we go to the temple to give prasad. So dahika apasya suddhintu. And in this way he says that my bodily elements and especially the water, because in the body says that 70% is the water. So he is also written there, let the water element in the body be purified. Because the whole body is sustained by water element. Sarva sattvatma dehaya visheshaya sthaviyase namastra lokya palaya sahojo balaya cha. So my obeisances to the Lord who has the transcendental form or essence of everything, who is special, who is the stable person, who maintains the three planets, three planetary systems, and who is the strength of mind, senses and the body. Sarvesam sattvanam praninam ye atmanas tesham dehaya. So sarva sattva, atma dehaya, sattva here is translated as the living beings, and atma means he is the very cause or the source of all their bodies. So I pray to him. And Sthaviyase, he refers to the Virat, the universal form. So there is also, this universe is also body of the Lord. Just as we have our body and the soul is inside this body, and this body is like a mini universe. In the same way, this whole universe is like a body, that is called Virat Purusha. And Lord is the person who is the soul of this Virat Purusha. So that is called Sthaviya, or the stool, or the gross, or the universal body. So he prays to that. Virat Dehaya Chaiti. He Prithvyatmak Hare Mama Ghanendriya Bhavdiya Saurabhya. एव प्रवर्त्य देहं च स्वीय परिचर्यादिषु प्रवर्त्य इति त्रैलोक्यपालाय प्राणवायु स्वरूपाय सहयोजो बलाय मनेन्द्रिय देहेषु सहयोजो बल रूपेण प्रविश्य तत्पाठं कर्तव्यम्. So he says that you are in the form of Prithvi or the earth, because all these bodies are made from earthly element. Mam Ghanendriyam, my nose, sense of smell, let it engage only in smelling the fragrance coming from your body or the flowers which have been offered to you. Deham cha sviya paricharyadisu pravarte, and let my body engage only in your service. And Trailokya Palaya, you are the maintainer of the three lokas. Pranavayu Swarupaya, you are the form of Pranavayu, because he refers to Saha, Oja and Bala, the strength which comes in the mind and in the senses and the body. So physical strength, the sense of the senses, power of the senses, and the mental strength, they all come from the Pranavayu. So he is called Sahoja Balaya. So he says that let all these mind, senses, body, etc., they function properly in devotion. He Vayu Swarup Hare Mamatvagindriyam Tvadiya Swakormari Ado Ev Ullashiyan Dehendriya Manansi Api Bhajan Samarthyavanti Kurutu. So he says that, O Lord, in the form of wind, let my skin, the sense is the sense of touch, because air is the deity for sense of touch. So he says that let me take pleasure only in the softness of your body, and let my body, senses and mind, they have the power to engage in your service, because he refers to these three types of strength: strength of mind, strength of senses and strength of physical body. So he says let they all have strength to engage in your service. So this is how he is praying to the different deities, so that all these elements, they get purified and they get engaged in the service of the Lord. So I'll stop here. If there is any questions.
You said before that you should, about eating, that everything we eat goes to the mind, and that we should eat food which is devoted to the Lord, like prasad. But this is more an Indian custom. I live in Greece, and it's not really a custom in the church there. So what do you do back home, kind of thing?
There also you can offer to God, because God is there in Greece also.
So basically when you cook, you chant the name of the Lord, so it's like food
Yeah,
made.
after cooking, you can make an offering to God. If you have an altar in your house, you can actually make a plate and offer. If you don't have, you can mentally offer that, please accept this.
Okay.
So then it becomes sanctified. And then if you take it, then it has an effect on your mind.
I think this is common. I mean, at least the general idea of blessing the food or saying a prayer before taking the food is common to all.
Yeah, actually
Cultures.
every culture had this. Now we have forgotten our culture. And Greeks have forgotten their culture and other places also. But practically in every culture there was a custom of praying before eating.
That I do anyways. But is this like offering the food?
Yeah, so that prayer involved offering to God.
Okay.
People have also forgotten what we are praying for. So it was offered, and then you recite prayer, and then you accept.
Like in general, we would just pray to Krishna, to help me control my mind or so on. But now this is giving, let's say, more in-depth analysis of the different components of the psyche and, specific deities. In fact, not only two types of deities, for each of the components. So is there let's say, a specific significance to pray, to, let's say, Aniruddha or Pradyumna, to pray to Krishna in these specific forms?
Yeah, it is, as I said, that this is because we are ultimately using our material senses, material mind, and they are the deities of these senses. So to pray to them to get their grace, that this senses actually function devotionally. That is the purpose behind it. So that's why in our Sampradaya also, as I said, we have Panch Tattva, we have Advaitacharya, who is the Mahavishnu. So means he is the controller of all the elements. Then we have Nityamanda, who is Sankarshan for the Ahim Tattva. So these are important. Of course, Mahaprabhu is supreme. And then we have Bhakti. So, although it is not going in so much detail, but the seed is there.
So Babaji, this The Virat Rupa means it's the aggregate of all the elements, the Virat elements. I never understood how this can be like the body of the Lord. Now you say that the Lord is the soul of this.
So the universe also takes birth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it grows. Now science also is accepting that it is still growing.
Mhm.
And then they also say that it becomes old. Right? And then it collapses.
Yes.
So it's working like body.
Mhm. And the Lord is the soul.
The super soul.
Mhm. Okay.
Si una persona que cocina, que en teoría no es una persona pura, yo ofrezco esa comida al Señor, ¿es buena para la mente?
She's saying if a person who's cooking will give us speaking Spanish.
He says if a person cooks but is not pure, and then someone else offers that food, is there any benefit?
Yes, still benefit is there. Of course, best is that it is cooked by a pure person. But still we offer. Instead of eating unoffered, still eat offered food.
Thanks.
When you speak of the antakaran, it refers to the psyche as a whole.
Yeah. Refers to that. So therefore there is also sometimes say antakaran chatushtaya.
What is the order of senses? What is the order of how they should be purified? So first is the taste, and what others?
We started from the inner senses, from the heart, then the ego, then buddhi and ego and the mind. And then he came to the other senses. The taste, the nose, the ears. Actually first he said the eyes, spoke about Paramahansa, which he translated as sense. He started with the eye.
Among spiritualists, at least in India, there's a tradition of only eating what one himself cooks or herself cooks. Can you discuss a little bit about the benefits of that?
Yeah, because as I said that when you are trying to control your mind, which is very important in spiritual life, so you have to be very careful about things which influence it. Because our mind, we are always influenced by everything around us. And we are always influencing everything around us. It's both ways. We influence, sitting here we are influencing each other. And we are also getting influenced. Because we are taking something inside and we are also releasing things outside. Mainly and mainly. And anything which goes inside, it brings a change in me, no matter how minute it is. And if I am throwing something out, then that is also going to bring a change outside, no matter how small it is. So just like when you walk on the ground, then according to third law of motion, you are going forward by pushing the earth backward. Now the amount of the earth which goes backward is so minute that nobody notices it. That's a fact. So when you are very advanced spiritually and you come to the fine level of mind control, then even very small things can cause disturbance. It's like when your shirt is very clean, then even a small spot is visible on it. So food is something which is very influential to the mind. And when food is cooked, the consciousness of the person is also influencing that food. The consciousness of the person who is serving it, the consciousness of the people with whom you eat it, even the consciousness of the people who look at you when you are eating. So that's why you read in the Smriti that don't eat in the public place. Why? Or when we make an offering, we put a curtain for the Lord. What is the reason? Because eating should be done in a private place. Like they say bhajan and bhojan. Bhojan means eating and bhajan means meditation. This should be done privately. For this reason only. So all these things create an influence. And there are so many rules with whom you should eat and not eat, with whom you should sit and not sit, and facing this way, facing that way. There are hundreds of rules, especially about eating, because eating seems to be a very influential thing for the mind. So there were many people in India, and still there are, that they cook their own food. Because they are not sure of how can you control the consciousness of another person. Even if the person is pure, now he is cooking or she is cooking and the mood is disturbed, angry, so that is going to create disturbance to me. So I am sure of myself. So therefore, there were even Brahmanas in India who were married, they have wife, but they will actually cook their own food. They are called Swampaki. So, and they will live like that. So it may be very inconvenient and impractical. Now you cannot even think about it. But these people whose goal was different, and they were dedicated for that goal, then they did it. Because they have a different idea in their life. They are not interested in things which a common person may be interested in. So they follow that, and still there are people like that. Very surprising to hear this.
So, Babaji, essentially what you're saying is that for every action, whether on a material path, spiritual path, there is a reaction.
Yeah, there is.
Bottom line.
Yeah, for everything there is a reaction. So now we do not have this knowledge, and therefore people are eating whatever they get, in whatever manner, walking, driving, talking, sitting on their desk, eat anywhere. But then you also see the consciousness of these people and how disturbed their minds are. Ask them to sit down a few minutes and say, now control your mind. It's impossible. Because of all these vibrations, too much disturbance. They don't even know what it means to be peaceful.
And you told just now that there are so many rules how to eat properly with all the things that corresponds to eating. Why can we find maybe some just basic rules in order just to try to learn them and to apply it in our life?
Well, some of these rules you can find even in the Ayurveda book. Because if you read some basic book of Ayurveda, even they will tell you, because Ayurveda is speaking although from health point of view, but they also speak of these things. Otherwise, in this Shastra there is no one particular place, you can find it in different places. Manusmriti is where you can find. In the Puranas also there. Even in Mahabharata, many places it is described.
That's why I'm asking, because
But Manusmriti you can read.
different advices on rules on how to do it properly, they're scattered in a lot of books, Puranas,
I
Shankara.
think we also have that small booklet. Read it.
Spiritual health?
No,
The
no,
yoga of
yo-
eating.
Yoga of Eating. We have a small book we have written.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Yoga of Eating.
Mm-hmm.
So you can
Oh, I
read it.
started it here.
Yeah. So it's also, some of these rules are stated there. At least the ones which are important ones. You don't have to go into too many details.
Okay.
So you can read that. Okay.